Dear friends, I am Naresh Dadhich. I have just published a book on John Rawls. The book is published in July 2019 and it will be available to the public in August 2019. The book is a comprehensive study of John Rawls' political philosophy, although it is an introductory text, but it covers almost all aspects of John Rawls' theory. I have tried to simplify John Rawls for the common man, for students and teachers and PhD research scholars, so that they can have a glimpse of what John Rawls is all about. And once they read this book, after that they can go for higher studies and specialized books on John Rawls. This book is divided into 11 chapters. I introduced John Rawls, who he was, and why he was concerned with the theory of justice. Then I defined and elaborated his concept of justice as fairness. In this, we talk about the alternative to justice as fairness as intuitionism and utilitarianism, and how John Rawls demolished the arguments of utilitarianism and intuitionism, and what are the rational argument to accept justice as fairness as the right interpretation of justice. Then in the next chapter, there are two principles of justice as fairness as he defined in his theory of justice, first principle and second principle. So the next chapter is devoted to the first principle of theory of justice, which is concerned with the equal extensive liberty to individuals. And this principle has got a priority on the basis of lexical order, which means that to satisfy justice, theory of justice, first we will have to satisfy the first principle, and then only we will go for the second principle. So an elaborate discussion on his theory of liberty and what is this first principle all about. Then in the next chapter, which is titled second principle, the second principle is about socio-economic inequality, and in that Rawls has given two subset of this principle, A and B. The second principle is about socio-economic inequality, and he says that socio-economic inequality should be tackled in such a way that second A, that it should help the least advantageous person in the society, and second B is that the equal opportunity should be given to all regarding positions and opportunities and others. But we should be always clear about it that the lexical principle is applied here. So you can't say that for giving benefit to the least advantageous person, we should take away liberty of others, because you can't take away first principle for satisfying second principle. So first everybody should have an equal amount of liberty, and then we should proceed for socio-economic, to remove the socio-economic injustice or inequality. Then the next chapter is about the original position and its justification. We know that while talking about theory of justice, Rawls believes that the procedural justice is as important as the substantive justice, which means justice is not to be done only, but it is to be seen to be done. So a principles of justice should come out from a just process. And while describing just process, he talks about a new concept that is called original position, which is quite different from the similar concept used by a social contractualist of 17th, 18th century, the state of nature. We can always compare these two types of original positions. So in John Rawls's original position, the individuals are rational, they are equal, they are free, they are moral, and they are non-altruistic. Because this theory is basically a liberal theory, which believes in the Adams' theory of capitalism, that individuals are ultimately motivated by self-interest, and there is nothing wrong about it if while fulfilling our self-interest we do not harm others. So he says that these persons who are assembled there to find a theory of justice, they should be non-altruistic in nature. Then also he gives a new concept that is called wheel of ignorance while defining his original position, which means that while deciding about choosing the theory of justice, the individuals should forget about their past, their capabilities, their personal interest, and their inclinations. so that they can rationally choose a principle which is applied to all. So if society is just, then individuals can also be just. Here individuals are not participating as individuals only, but they are participating as the head of the family also, so that once the contract is done, then the next generation can also follow this contract, and every generation will not have to come and have a new contract. Then the next question is about the duty and obligations. Once this state is created on the basis of theory of justice, that he calls the constitutional democracy, then what are the duties of the individuals or citizens, and what are the obligations of citizens? Here he discusses a theory of civil disobedience also, and I also try to explain what is this theory of civil disobedience. Then the next chapter is about the theory of the good, which is very important philosophically, because good is defined by individuals only, not by the state. Good means that what are the things which we want in our life, whether we want to be money, whether we want position, we want fame, or what we want, that is good, and that is defined by our individuals only. The state can provide such conditions in which these individuals, whatever good they have, they can claim it, they can freely try to pursue that path where they can lead to that particular good which they define. Then political liberalism, which is his book on 1993, where the theory of justice is applied in a political framework, which he calls the political theory of justice, which is it is applied to the existing states which are liberal in their nature. So this is a practical application of his theory of justice. Then there he gives a concept of the idea of a well-ordered society, which is the new chapter, which is the next chapter. If a state is based on justice, then it is a well-ordered society. And what are the characteristics of the well-ordered societies, which differentiate it from other types of societies? That is what we dealt with here. Then we have the law of peoples, that is the application of theory of justice to the international law. Then the next chapter, which is very important, is that the critique of John Rawls. Not everybody agrees with John Rawls, but not everybody can ignore John Rawls. So John Rawls has got a deluge of criticism on his book, and I have tried to systematize them, critiques into different frames, like communitarian critique and libertarian critique and feminist critiques and others. So here we have a bunch of important criticism of John Rawls' theory, and also in some cases how John Rawls tackled with these critiques also. This is very important to understand the arguments of John Rawls in totality. And the last is the conclusion, that how John Rawls is so important, then we have to talk about it, and not everybody has given up. Not everybody who is indulging in political theory can avoid John Rawls. So I hope that this book is very helpful as an introductory text to John Rawls in totality, and students, general public, and young teachers will be benefited by it. You are most welcome to comment on my YouTube. Thank you very much. Namaskar.